got any better.
All right, Tom, we're on.
Okay, we'll start counting in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 61st edition of the Modern Woodworkers Association online discussion about all things woodworking. I can't believe they keep inviting us back. This is incredible. Today's special guests are 360 Woodworking, the three gentlemen who are now starting off with this new venture. But before we get to that motley crew, let's introduce the usual panel of motley people. I'm TomsWorkbench.com, and I'll be your program's host. Joining me today from Hotlanta, Georgia, Chris Atkins. Say hi, Chris.
Hey, Tom.
And who are you with?
I'm with me.
You're with you. You're by yourself right now, but yeah, you're High Rock Woodworking. And Diami Pilati from sunny Long Island.
Balmy.
Right?
How you doing, Tom?
Balmy, veritably balmy. And you're at the Penultimate Wood Shop.
I am.
Good. I'm glad to see nothing's changed since then. And you know what they say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So we are in for a real treat tonight because we have three folks who are with us, joining us tonight, who really need no introduction, but what they're doing is actually starting something completely new, which does need some introduction. I'm gonna start by introducing them alphabetically, if I can keep these in order. First, we're gonna start off with the fantabulous Chuck Bender. Chuck, say hi.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi, hi, Chris.
Hi.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi, Bob.
Hey,
Hi, Glenn.
Oh yeah, Glenn. Joining us also is Glenn Ewing. Hey, Glenn, how you doing?
All right, how are you guys tonight?
Great.
Yeah, are you calling us from NASA Mission Control with that headset on?
No, I'm calling you from a fantastic living room or office, actually, from up in Middletown, Ohio.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
Midwest.
And last but certainly not least, Bob Lang joins us. Bob, how you doing?
Hi, guys.
Now you
We're
have
doing
to
okay,
take
Bob.
Yeah,
Bob, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Well, it's good to have you here, Bob. Okay. Word on the street has it. Somebody mentioned something about donuts, and it's kind of an odd way to start the woodworking conversation. But could somebody give me a little bit of a talk about the donut post and what it means for woodworkers as you guys embark on 360 woodworking?
Like what?
Anybody want to jump
woodworker
in?
doesn't like donuts?
Bob wrote it.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Who doesn't like donuts?
Well,
Well,
go
it's
ahead, Bob.
kind of a device where you can talk about things without exactly talking about things. And actually, we did come close to cashing in our 401k and opening up a frozen custard franchise. That
Now
was
we're
discussed at one point this summer.
Only 1 point?
So
I thought it was
it's-
several.
Well, we kept going back to check if that was the franchise we wanted to get into.
Do they do White Castle franchises?
No, they're actually privately owned.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's why you guys kept woodworking?
Yeah, we couldn't decide between the frozen custard or the donuts, so I guess woodworking is what's left. And we're starting this new venture, and I think we have a little bit of a different approach to business and to publishing than the people we recently worked for.
Well, can you tell us about the
And
new
so that
approach?
was-
Because I think everyone's eager to find out what the 360 woodworking is going to be all about.
Well, I've been waiting for Chuck and Glenn to figure that out and let me know.
And I've been waiting on Chuck to figure it out and let me know, so we're all on the same boat.
You know, and I'm sure that all of the listeners who are listening to this, know these three gentlemen well, and and know that these guys came from, they've all been with Pop Woodworking magazine, and there's been some changes on that, and that's kind of what we're doing on here tonight is just talking a little bit about what that is, and everybody's kind of throwing out a little bit of the 360 woodworking, and with the reputation that you guys have in woodworking, and master craftsmen, just really talented guys. We're all pretty excited just to hear about that. So.
Well, I think we're still in the process, certainly. We've been working real hard, IT guys, and we're also the IT guys. And really, this is just a grassroots kind of guerrilla operation. As we kind of thought about leaving our jobs, we started thinking, well, what constraints that currently, what if we just
Are we
did
back?
some. What's that?
Are we back?
We never
Were
left.
we ever gone?
Oh, geez, I dropped.
Jeez, I was right in the middle of something so good.
I missed everything. All of a sudden, I got the black screen of death and said there was an error and I had to leave, and it was terrible. Well, catch me up.
Yeah, you're always a troublemaker.
I know.
Anyway, what I was saying is we just kind of thought, well, what if we did things this way instead of that way? And what if we didn't have the boundaries imposed by paper and ink and normal distribution channels, and just what could we do? And so we're in the process of with that. It should be seen and available pretty soon, and I think you guys are going to like it.
Now, one of the things, is I know with each of you three actually put a blog post out, I don't know, a few days ago or something like that, and just kind of gave some hints to it, and there's a link to a website on there with the 360 Woodworking. What's the anticipation, you think, when that's going to, start going live here and start getting a little more of the secrets out? Glenn?
Well, I can fill you in a little bit on it. I mean, we were trying to get to the point where we had everything ready to go up and live this week. Probably not going to hit it, so probably going to be after the weekend's over. And we shot a little video that we're going to post up there that kind of gives you some more hints of what's going on. And I guess, for you guys, for your reader or for your listeners and stuff, one of the things I think we got to look at is, for 20 years we've had magazines being serviced the same way. And you guys know, obviously, that there's some way new technology out there that's really not being applied to woodworking into the magazine area. And that's one of the things we're trying to bring to the forefront a little bit more. You look at our tagline, we think we've got it figured out. I guess I'm not jumping ahead from this, but what we're talking about is 360 woodworking, and the tagline underneath it is where tech meets tradition. And I think that gives you a hint about some of the stuff we're going to do, but there's a lot to it. We've got a lot in front of us, and the three of us are, we're working nonstop right now to put it up and get it all ready to go. So probably next week you'll see some more tips on what's going to be and kind of move in that direction.
What do you hope the experience is going to be like for the viewer, for the person coming to the site? Is it going to be kind of a hands-on instructional kind of thing? Do you see a lot of projects? I mean, what's the experience going to be like?
Chuck.
All right.
Carlos.
Yeah, it's going to be 360. So it's going to be a real multimedia experience. We have a lot of really great ideas to incorporate a lot of different types of media into what we're going to present to you, and it's going to be all kinds of things. We're going to have techniques and projects and things like that are going to be. It's a multi-pronged approach. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so it's gonna appeal to a wide variety of learners.
It's going to be
People will learn by reading and by viewing, right?
Right, and
Okay.
some other things too.
Okay. And are you guys shooting for a particular type of woodworker? Somebody more experienced, somebody starting out? Are you looking for just a broad variety of folks? Maybe power tools, hand tools. Is it going to be? It's going to be across the board.
The simple answer, Tom, is yes.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I like that.
Absolutely.
You tell me no in a day. It's going to be yes every so often.
Yeah. Our idea is that we're going to be pulling stuff together for the guy just beginning, for the guy that's fully experienced. I mean, one of the things that bugged me about most of the magazines is once you reach a certain level of woodworking, there's really, the projects don't challenge people. And one of the things we want to make sure we do is challenge all the woodworkers, whether you're a newbie just starting out that works fully with hand tools, or a guy that's full out power tool, hand tool, and has been experienced at this stuff for 20-something years. So we're looking to hit that whole gambit.
Yeah, we're thinking it's not a real good idea to divide people up into little boxes and aim at beginners or aim at the all-encompassing intermediate, or to aim at pros. And we kind of think if we do it right, there's going to be something there for everybody.
One of the things that's interesting, you've talked about how how things are changing, and how there's so much technology and stuff out there, and that's I like reading magazines, I do, but at the same time there's so many ways of getting information out, and with a magazine you're so limited to what you can put into one magazine, and with the internet and things like that, there's ways of putting things together with just a vast amount of information that's way more than what a magazine could possibly do. And it's an interesting concept that we see this coming on. So I'm really excited that you guys are kind of trying to push that and take a look, because there is the way we can store data and process data, and you can download things so fast now. It's easy to be anywhere and view this. So it's a great concept.
And that's go ahead, Chuck, or do you want me to go ahead? I'll go ahead. We hesitate to call it a magazine, what we're up to, because it is a lot more.
Sure.
Now it's going to be similar to a magazine in a lot of ways. Every couple of months there will be an issue that gets published, and in that issue will be a bunch of articles. So that part is pretty familiar. The people writing are going to be familiar, and not just Glenn, Chuck, and I. We've got quite a few people. I don't think we're really ready to mention names, but
no.
There will be names. There will be names you recognize, and people you'll be glad that we introduce you to. But we're going to do is, the most we can to present that information in a lot of different ways. So just right off the bat, the pictures will be big enough to see. If it needs to go. We also have this concept of an appropriate length for something. Mm-hmm. So you may see articles that stretch out instead of the 6 pages or 8 pages that you see in print. They may go 10, 12, 15 pages. They may get split over several issues and run a year, so you can really get everything there is in a project. In addition to that, you hit a point where it makes sense to see a video. We're going to have a video there. So it's really exciting, and we're working to get a sample, because I think seeing is going to be believing once you can see what it looks like.
So to me it sounds like you're still kind of looking at that magazine concept, but without the constraints. Instead of building a digital magazine based on a print magazine, you're building the digital magazine. You're kind of
and I think that's kind of been the issue up till now. just with all digital publications,
Mm-hmm.
people tend to take what they have in print, make a PDF out of it, and say, ta-da, there's your digital magazine. Well, if you start from scratch and go back to square one and start thinking, what could we do, you can do a lot more. And it looks a lot better. It's more user-friendly. I think it's more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and one of the things that really pushed me into this was coming from the idea that we were going to unpack or unmake the magazine. And like I said, it's a multi-pronged approach, so it's not really going to be limited to that magazine concept. You're going to see things coming out differently. Don't expect just a single big issue and that's it. There's going to be content and different things happening all the time for the subscribers, and it's the idea is we really felt very constrained by the print part of the magazine. You have advertisers and things that sort of took up pages, and you only have a specific number of pages. And we're woodworkers just like you, and we not only read the magazine we were working for, but we also read lots of the others. And we always got that gloss over feel. Like, okay, they left out some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it was really a question of trying to get to the point where we can avoid all of that left out stuff, and now we can make things a little bit more complete.
I mean, how many articles did you read where you got down, it's a 6 or 8 page article, and you get down to the last paragraph and a half, and that's how they explain the finishing process. So there's nothing there. So, I mean, everybody's left out. I got email after email from people saying, yeah, I got a bunch of emails from people asking me.
It only takes 2 lines.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny. We've had Jim Heavey on the show, and he one of his favorite lines was, "The easiest way to ruin a perfectly good project is to blow the finish." So it's good to see that you guys are spending the time to actually expand these different portions out that can get glossed over.
Right. And one of the things that I said was, when we were talking about this, was I never considered myself a beginner or an intermediate or an advanced woodworker. I was just a woodworker, and I went out there and tried to learn as much as I could. I made a lot of mistakes along the way and gotten to where I've gotten because of those mistakes. So that's something else that we want to sort of address as we're going through a lot of the things we're talking about. And the other people who are going to be writing, more than writing is a magazine term, so it's not really that either. It's
creating.
The content producers that we're going to have working with us. We want them pointing out potential mistake areas, and we're going to point out potential ways to avoid those things and how to correct them if you can't. And it's, once again, it goes back to that 360 thing. It's all encompassing, and that's, I mean, it's learning in the way you learn best is what I like to think of it.
Yeah, and we're gonna have the space and the ability to present alternatives.
See, Bob's so happy about it, he gets to
Yeah, but we're also going to have a lot of the content will be online, and it will be like in a library online, so that we don't have to recycle the same basic articles every 2-3 years. They'll live on the website. They'll be added to, and then we can point people to those when we're doing a newer project.
Nice.
Okay. So I can see.
It's really like a liberating thing. All the things we couldn't do before, and all the things we didn't like as readers. We don't have to do those anymore. So we're pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be cool.
No, it sounds great, and I can see how this format, or what I perceive to be the format, is going to allow you to go into a lot more depth into all these projects. But beyond covering each topic in more detail and in more ways, will this allow you to cover more topics that in any form would never have made it into a regular magazine?
Yeah, that's one of the things we want to specialize in is all the stuff you'd be crazy to publish if you were in a print magazine. And so just different, there are guys all over the country, all over the world doing really great stuff, but if it doesn't fit the box of here's a project you can do in a weekend, here's a project we can make easy, you don't get about it. And so, we want to present, dig these guys out of the bushes and get them exposed to people, get people exposed to different kinds of work.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, and all that's going to do is just help bring more people in because they're, maybe somebody that's interested in that type thing that they normally can't find in a magazine or they can't find in other places. So, yeah, that's a terrific way to bring more people into the fold.
Yeah, really the easy way out of this is to kind of make little boxes and, here's the beginner's corner and here's the intermediate corner. And we're just... So we produce something that somebody brand new to woodworking is going to enjoy, somebody who's making their living.
I think we've lost Bob for just a minute there.
You're kind of backing in and out.
Yeah, Glenn, do you want to take over for just a second there?
Well, I wasn't really sure where Bob was going with that. So.
just go with it. Make it up.
Yeah, but, I think he was on the right track. I mean, we are going to look at all areas of woodworking, and not, most of the magazine that we work for, we were furniture based for the most part, and techniques were focused around that as well. And we're not necessarily going to stay there. We're going to look at carpentry. We're going to look at boxes. We're going to look at, anything and everything. Our whole idea from the three of us is if we look at it and think it sounds cool, then there's guys out there that are going to be interested in it as well. Right. And that's kind of what the whole idea is.
And I know that, it sounds like you guys have put a tremendous amount of thought into this and and a lot of work in it so far. But I know that, you've probably got a lot of stuff that is a little bit unknown and kind of working things out. But, I always have to ask the questions that's a little bit, we're talking about, an issue coming out. When do you perceive maybe a first issue coming out? Obviously you've got to get the site up and get that stuff going, but, do you have any idea of any kind of time frames you can talk about?
Chuck?
Thanks, Glenn.
Hey, because I'll just tell them.
Well,
here's the bus. There's... Oh, my...
Our plan is to have the demo issue, which is going to be a very simple little project, and maybe another little column or something that will be available sometime next week, so you guys can get a taste of where we're headed. Our very first issue, which will be what we're calling our January issue, is going to hopefully hit, what are we talking about, like Thanksgiving, early December.
So you're going to keep that magazine thing of being completely irrelevant as to when the actual dates in the magazine are printed?
No, we kind of thought if it came out in December, we should call it December.
Right. That sounds reasonable to me, but I'm not in the print world.
Well, yeah, and that's, when you put it out 3 months before the actual issue month, you got a problem.
That all comes back to the whole idea of in the print area, you got to get everything ready to go and send it out to the printers, and they need so much time for it. So that's the lead time on all of it. But
well, and a lot of those wacky things are based on selling at newsstands, and so if the March issue comes out in January, then it'll stay on the newsstands till March.
It seems new longer.
Yeah.
So there's all these things that we don't have to deal with, and we're pretty happy we don't have to deal with it.
And to go back what Chuck was talking about, we're looking at that first issue. It's going to be a total freebie issue, so it's going to be full out. We're just going to put it out there and let everybody have it that wants it, and hopefully it'll be the idea of this is what the guys are doing, and look how fantastic it is, and everybody's willing to get in there then and sign up and get ready for the next issue.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we've got some pretty great people lined up to contribute to the first issue already. So
That's great.
Yeah, we'll leak that out slowly and surely over the next couple weeks.
Now, will you guys have advertising also, or at this point it's going to be completely subscriber based?
We're not really sure yet.
Hey, I don't
You
know.
know,
Honestly, the thought was to try and keep advertising out of the issue altogether, because one of the things we constantly heard working at a magazine was, boy, those ads really stink. We really like, getting the content without all the advertising, and that's it gives us some freedom too. Because now, if we decide that we really like a tool, we can tell you about it, and if we really think something comes on the market that isn't quite what it ought to be, we can let you know that too, without having to worry about who's going to, cut off our advertising.
Yeah, I think it also goes back to, Bob and I were both working with F&W when Woodworking magazine was out, and all the time that you talk to people about Woodworking magazine and you say, what do you like about it, what didn't you like, everybody says, oh, it was so great that it didn't have any advertising in it. And I think within our issue, you're not going to see any advertising. On our web page and stuff, there's a potential that you might see some up the road. But right now, we're trying to be free of that. And this is about woodworking. It's about the customer, the person that's coming in to subscribe. We want them to enjoy the woodworking part of it and not be hounded by ads, hounded by emails, hounded by all the stuff that we all sat and complained about for all the time we were getting them before.
We promise not to send out 30,000 emails a month.
Only 25,000, Chuck?
28.5.
Okay, all right, I can handle 28.5. But to talk on the ads for just a second, I'll throw out my opinion as a reader. The ads and what they do, and I'll just say that I would rather you guys succeed with ads than fail because you don't have ads. So hopefully other readers will be that forgiving, and hopefully you don't need them. I mean, I certainly plan to subscribe, but I think the bigger thing here is that we want you to succeed.
Yeah, and it may come down to that. I think there are a lot of things where we're depending on the audience to let us know what they want, and so if we can round up enough people to support us and our donut habit, we would rather do without the ads. If it does come to we add ads in, we're going to be real discreet about it, and I don't think people really mind an ad here and there. I think the objective is the number of them and the frequency of them and how they're presented and that kind of thing.
And I don't really like Franklin mint plates anyway.
Yeah.
They were the first people I had lined up to advertise with us.
Now, guys, we're here with three people whose reputations are just stellar in the woodworking community. I mean, just three people who just, there's really no introduction needed for you guys. I mean, what does that mean, going into this venture, knowing that you have such cachet, your names have so much value? What does that mean as you set off?
First of all, I don't believe that. That's,
I don't either.
We all say we're three woodworkers, so we're doing the same thing that 10,000 other people or 100,000 other people are doing.
Believe in hype?
Do what?
Tom's being a little rough tonight. He's kind of going in and out. So.
Yeah.
I had a good question.
When hasn't Tom had trouble?
Come, you guys.
Well, certainly it helps. It helps the three of us that we were in a magazine, a national magazine, and it helps that we have all the background behind us. But as far as the woodworking goes, we're doing the same thing everybody else does.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, and I don't think we think of ourselves
I guess
the way people have been talking about us the last few days. I mean, it's really been kind of a surprise to me to find out people think so highly of us. that wasn't the kind of stuff we heard in the office. So,
Well,
yeah,
Bob
we
and I
don't.
weren't surprised, but we always wonder about Chuck.
Yeah. And we don't think of ourselves as personalities. Hopefully we have personalities, but we're really about making nice stuff out of wood, and that's we're kind of simple guys. We're woodworkers first, and writers and publishers after that.
It's a great way to look at it.
I think it'll be a successful way to look at it.
We hope so.
So, all right, give us a project that you couldn't do before that now you're jumping at and you're gonna feature in some upcoming. It doesn't need to be what's going to be in the first episode, but tell me what we're going to see now that we couldn't have seen before.
Without spilling the beans entirely, there's a piece of furniture that's been on my list for a long time, for several years. And when I thought about doing it, building a reproduction of it, and I thought of it as a magazine article, it was like I just can't. There's so many good stories with this piece that I can't possibly fit it in to one article. So I've talked Glenn and Chuck into letting me take 5 or 6 issues to build this thing. So it's going to start out with me making some phone calls and driving 1,500 miles in a weekend to go measure and photograph this thing, and then it'll progress on. So that's the kind of thing we certainly never could have done.
So you're going to capture the entire journey of building it, not just an instructional, here are the key points of making whatever aspect of it, but the whole journey of it from measuring to fabrication of the new one.
Yeah, there's a good backstory of where the piece came from. There's also some fatal flaws in the construction of it, and so I have to deal with that. So I like good stories. I like the stories behind pieces, and so I hope I hope people enjoy hearing that. We're going to try. This is all pretty much experimental, So
I'm kind of hoping
you
it
may
stays
find
that
us
way forever.
Yeah, and that's kind of our attitude with it is, let's see if this works, and let's build an organization that can turn on a dime. I don't think any of
Exactly
us.
like how we woodwork.
Well, you take your chances,
Yeah, it's there's a lot of risk to it, and it's pretty much the same risk you get when you start cutting up mahogany or teak or anything that costs a lot of money. It's do the best you can and hope that people like it and hope you get paid for it.
It's always a
If nothing
plus.
else, the experience is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we're really excited about it. I think a lot of people are because there's a lot of expectations from this, and so we're pretty excited to see what happens.
We have to lower those expectations.
Well, you're starting up. Here, you keep going up. It's really, I think you alluded to this earlier, it's really a chance to basically reinvent the way people get their content. It's a totally new experience. And, with all the new technology, the internet has changed the way, just the ability for me to, be in the field as a public information officer and actually able to take broadcast quality pictures with my phone that the TV news stations put out just changes everything. And just seeing that now we're going to move this into woodworking, it's kind of an interesting take. It'll be interesting to see what comes of this.
Yeah. Well, my big deal on it is if we can move the industry ever so slightly into a moving up and taking the technologies and starting to apply it for all the magazines, I'd love to see that, because I think this whole area is an area that's undeveloped and can definitely use a push to maybe get themselves headed in the right direction, so where all the information gets better and better and better.
And it's interesting to see that, because I think there's been a push from the consumer side for several years for that. There's we've talked about it a lot, and a lot of the other people online and stuff, bloggers and podcasts and things like that, have talked about you know, where is this heading? You know, where's this? You know, where's the print, and how's it evolving into more of a mixed media type thing? And you know, this may be the way to kind of push that over the line a little bit and kind of mix it up. So.
Well, I
I mean, exactly. You know, exactly. I mean, 10 years ago, would this have been possible? What we're doing tonight?
Right.
I mean, 3 people who blog, talking to 3 people who were published in the magazine, having a live conversation that people can look in and see. And we're talking about the future of the industry. 10 years ago, this was unfathomable. Now look at it. We're 27. We're moving on. We're just moving ahead.
This is great if there was only somebody that actually listened to it, Tom.
Well, yeah, mom listens every episode, just so you know.
Wait, you mean I'm missing sleep for this and nobody's out there?
No, Tom's mom's listening. Trust
She
us.
listens every time we broadcast.
She's going to be so excited.
My son. No, you know, I mean, guys, I mean, you know, real honestly, this 10 years ago wouldn't have even been a thought, wouldn't have been possible. Now look where you are. I mean, this is like real Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin kind of stuff.
And we're kind of hoping
Well,
we
maybe
can
not
push that
that big,
envelope
but
even
close.
further.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we really are kind of.
We're kind of like kids in a candy store here. You know, it's what can we do, and what kind of you know, and this is just going into it. We've got a lot of ideas for different ways to do things, and I think as it grows and as it progresses, you're going to see more.
Yeah,
and
we've just flipped the lid open on the box, and you know what comes out of it and how we think outside of it from here. We can go in so many different directions.
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of different ways to creatively apply the technology that's available to us, and as the technology gets better, I mean, we're going to be able to run even further, faster.
There's a lot to be said for that.
Well, guys, we're you know, like I said, we're very excited about what's to come, and you know, we really appreciate you guys coming on and giving us kind of a hint as to what to expect, and pretty exciting. So, you know, one thing I would like to say. I'm sure. And one thing I would like to see is just kind of each of you kind of go through and give you know, one kind of final kind of thought as to what, you know, kind of what you think. One more chance to say, you know, something on what your expectations, you know, are. Chuck?
Great, thanks. My expectations are I'm kind of hoping we can take what a lot of the magazines were early on, and, you know, you had that, everybody had, I remember being a kid and getting the magazine in and like just being totally wired to sit down and read this thing cover to cover and then go out and try some of those weird things. You know, like I said, I never really thought of myself as a beginner or an intermediate. I just thought of myself as a woodworker, and I got through one thing and then figured out what I did wrong and then moved on. And it's that excitement of discovery and getting better at what you're doing and all of that stuff that I'm kind of hoping that we can sort of convey. It's that passion.
Great. Glenn?
I think for me, I probably look at it as one of the reasons I got into woodworking is because every 6 to 7 weeks, give or take, you know, you start a new project and everything's new and you regenerate and you hit the reset button and you're ready to go. And that was one of the things that drew me into the magazines to begin with, was that whole idea that each issue goes out the door and a new one starts, because it's kind of refreshing to start that whole process again. And what I'd like to do here is hit the reset button, not only on just my stuff and what we do or our ideas on what we're doing, but also to hit a reset button on the magazine business as a whole. I mean, the average reader of a magazine, a woodworking magazine, is probably around 57. So what you see is this technology, the lapse in it coming into the magazines and woodworking magazines, is because most of the people that are there are a little older and less apt to run to the new technologies. So I want to reset the button on woodworking magazines and push the envelope a little bit here and see where things can go. And I think we're on a great ride, and we're going to take a lot of input from people. And, you know, down the road someplace, I just as soon be known for this as I am for a piece of furniture that I built somewhere along the process.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Says the guy in the 1970s NASA headset.
Hey, I like that. We're ready to work.
That's
It's
a
Charlie
vintage
Duke
headset.
talking to Neil Armstrong. It's great.
All right.
Bob?
Bob.
Yeah, well, Glenn and Chuck took all the good things I was going to say.
I stole your thunder, those bastards.
I think there are a lot more woodworkers out there than people assume they are. And there are a lot more younger woodworkers than people think they are. And so if we can start to reach that and expand the base of the audience, that's kind of where I would like to go with this. And I would really like to, as Chuck said, bring the excitement back. You know, if we come out at noon on the first of the month, I want people to take the afternoon off that day. You know, that's kind of, I want it to be exciting and thrilling and something you look forward to seeing. And, you know, I couldn't ask for two better guys to jump into this with. You know, I think we really make a good team working together, and I think it's going to be good.
Fantastic.
I'll tell you, you know, this is the dawn of a new day, we're really excited. And you know, guys, if it's okay with you, when we get a couple of issues under the belt, any chance you guys want to come back and tell us how it's going?
Shoot, yes. Ring us up. We're there.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because it's going to be a big deal. I've got a feeling about it.
Hey, and I've just got to ask one more question. I mean, we've got
here we go.
We've got a magazine coming out here. I mean, can we expect, you know, at least a swimsuit issue or something here? I mean, what?
You don't want to see
no.
swimsuits.
The last time I had a pair of Speedos on, the beach clothes.
Some things cannot be unsaid.
Or unseen, even worse.
You know, we had the MWA calendar 2 years ago, and that was surprisingly.
That's why we're saying no.
We did not sell out of them like we anticipated.
I mean, there were literally like tens of them printed, and we couldn't sell them.
And we had to
buy them all, Tom.
We had to give away most of them, and people like lined their bird cages with them. It was great. That being said, that's going to about wrap it up for tonight's show. If you're missing us already, you can subscribe to the show on iTunes. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And once you're subscribed, you'll be sure to never miss another exciting episode. And while you're on iTunes, please be sure to leave us a 5-star rating, even if you don't believe we deserve it, because it helps us. It helps our rank so others can more easily find us and can laugh uncontrollably at what we do.
Before I get more into where people can find us, Tom, I want to ask you, gentlemen, would one of you like to pimp the website and talk about what people can do there right now to find out more about 360 Woodworking?
Again, I'll defer to Chuck.
Chuck.
Okay, it is 360 Woodworking. That's the numeral 360, woodworking.com. And right now there is a construction page up that allows you to enter your name and your email address, and that puts you on a list to let you know that the site has gone live when it actually does. And at that point, there will be content. We keep talking about an issue and how it's going to come out, you know, in a specific month, but there's going to be content pretty much constantly coming up on there.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a real firm launch date of any day now. And one of the things we've been doing is we're reporting all of the posts from our individual blogs onto the new site. And so that's taken a little bit of time because it's the three of us doing it. So there's going to be a lot of content there, a lot of free content, and we're also our contributors will be adding to that. It's kind of a part of the concept is this is where the good solid information is going to be.
I'm sure it will with you guys behind it. And people go to the site now, they can also click links to follow 360 Woodworking on Twitter and Google+. So you guys are already starting to share some stuff there. I'd encourage everyone to follow that. But if they want to find out more about the Modern Woodworkers Association, be sure to visit modernwoodworkersassociation.com. Follow the MWA on Twitter at MWA_national. You can like the MWA on Facebook or circle the Modern Woodworkers Association on Google+. While you're there, join the MWA Google+ community for project sharing, discussion, and loads of woodworking banter.
All right, and I'm Chris Adkins of highrockwoodworking.com, or you can find me on Twitter at highrockww.
I'm Diami Plotke of penultimatewoodshop.com. On the Twitter, I am at Diami Plotke, DYAMI,
And I'm the resident shop monkey, Tom Iovino of tomsworkbench.com and at Tom's Workbench on Twitter. Until we see you again, we wish you all happy sawdust. Thanks for listening.
Out.
Out.